Hi, my name's Gregory Hodges, and this is my experience and journey doing Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings and meditations. So I first heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza in the summer of 2021. My brother was slowly passing away with cancer at the time, and I was looking for answers. I was looking for ways to be able to deal with it. I ran across him on YouTube and, saw a lot of videos of him speaking, and I really connected with what he said. He broke it down to where it made sense for me. And I liked, how he spoke about the meditations and it backed up by the science. So I went in, I bought a mask and I bought some meditations from him and I went to work. And I'm not going to lie, it did in the beginning, it felt like work. I didn't enjoy the meditations. I wasn't connecting with them. I didn't understand. I couldn't get through one. I would rip off my mask, or I'd sit there in the meditation and just wonder, why am I staring into a mask? I'm going to go broke if I keep doing this. Like, how am I supposed to do an hour every day minimum? I was going, this is a lot to take on. I just don't know how to do it. But I kept with it. And it was frustrating. But as I went on, I kept meditating. My brother passed away. I got through that. But after that, I saw that Dr. Joe had a retreat he was going to do in Marco Island this past January in Marco Island, Florida. And so now I've heard that getting tickets to his event is kind of like trying to get tickets to a Taylor Swift concert. Like you kind of have to be on your game to go get a ticket to get in. So I don't know, I got up whatever time it was to get a ticket. So I got up and I pressed the button and I got a ticket. Now I didn't get a hotel room. I had to get an Airbnb down the street, but whatever, that was fine. And so anyway, we're getting closer to the retreat. And I kind of thought with this ticket that I bought, I still don't know anything about meditation, still questioning it. I said, well, if I don't like the retreat, at least I'm going to be in South Florida. And if I don't like it, I'll just walk out on the beach and just enjoy my time, in the sand, in the middle of the winter. And if nothing else, I'll also, if I get through the retreat, then I'll have a better understanding, I think, after a week-long event, if meditation is right for me or not. And so that's what I did. We got closer to the event. I started watching the progressive videos, and then we totally about 3 weeks before the event, I decided I was just going to stop meditating, and because I realized that at the retreat we'll probably be meditating a lot, and I didn't want to overdo it. So I kind of stopped a couple weeks before, and that was my experience before the event, and so I show up at Marco Island, and the first day is kind of like a registration day, and Dr. Joe comes out and talks, and we do a little meditation or something. He sent us all home, and I can't remember for sure, but I think we got up at 5 or 6, something like that. And I don't get up at that time ever for any reason, but I did that day, and I went to bed really late. I only slept maybe 2 hours. So when I showed up to the event on the first full day, I was miserable. I only slept for a couple of hours. I didn't sleep the night before that. And so I woke up late-ish. I still was on time, but I had to rush. I couldn't take a shower. I forgot my meditation underwear. Like, I didn't have anything that I wanted. I got not my number one mask, but like my backup mask. And I was like, man, I'm really screwing up this first day here. But anyway, I get there. And again, I'm just miserable. Just in my mind, just going, just mentally not there. So we get there, and I get there, and we go through a meditation. It's like a blessings of the energy, I believe is what we started off with. And that was very similar to what I've experienced in the past. And then we take a little break, and we come back and we do a second meditation. And when we did that second meditation, I was kind of still frustrated, still upset, because I was just so exhausted. So I kind of told myself, I'm just going to check out on this meditation, and I'm not going to do anything because it would be best if I just kind of got some rest, and then maybe I can make the most out of the rest of the day if I kind of just maybe slept or just kind of just rested and took this time off. So I sat there in the chair, and we start the meditation. I've got my mask on, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to zone out. I'm not doing anything here. I'm checking out of this thing. And Dr. Joe says, focus your attention on your heart. And I kind of sarcastically told myself, like, all right, I'm going to focus on my heart. Sure, I'm going to focus on my heart. So all I did was I just kind of took my finger, and the amount of tension at the tip of my finger and then just the area of where my heart is, that's all the attention I gave to it. And I kind of just sat there and that's all the attention I gave it. And so I just did that. I didn't do anything else. And then I really just kind of zoned out, kind of daydreamed and then I noticed after a couple minutes, it wasn't very long, but my body started moving just like this, just ever so slightly back and forth. And I kind of was telling myself, like, man, I'm really tired. I can't even hold myself up. And so I'm slowly shaking, but over another couple of minutes, I start moving a little bit more like this, and I'm feeling it. I'm going, it's kind of interesting. And then after a couple of minutes, I start moving back like this. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my body just starts shaking like this. My whole torso's going back and forth. And I ripped my mask off. And I was freaked out. I thought I was having a seizure. I really did. And I thought there was some kind of medical issue with me. So I get up and I just kind of look around. And everybody else is like, just sitting there. And, I didn't know that this was a thing. So I go out into the lobby, and I find one of those green hat women, and I tell her, I say, listen, I think I'm having a seizure. I need to maybe go to the hospital or something. I wanted to. And she said, oh, no, honey, you're fine. And in my mind, I was yelling at her politely. I was saying, no, you don't understand. I'm having a seizure. She said, no, you're fine. You're fine. I said, how can you tell me that I'm fine? I'm letting you know that I'm not. It doesn't make any sense. And so, I had explained to her that I was convulsing. I was having these convulsions. And she said, no, everybody here is trying to get to that place. And I said, what? This doesn't make any sense to me. I've never even heard of this. I don't even know. I have no idea. But I will say, luckily, I reference back to just 20 minutes before that specific meditation. Dr. Joe brought 7 people up on stage and he kind of demonstrated how people having a meditation experience can shake and do all these things. And so I kind of said, well, that is kind of similar to what was going up on stage, but still I was freaked out because it was happening to me. And I'll be honest, I thought those people up on stage were paid actors. I didn't think that was a real thing. I was kind of skeptical, questioning, going, man, that looks crazy. What are they doing up there shaking? That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And sure enough, about 15 minutes later, that was me. And so the woman with the green hat, she was really helpful for me at a time when I was freaking out in my mind, not publicly. But I was grateful for her. So I went back to my chair. I kind of made an assessment of myself and said, well, I'm not bleeding. I'm not hurting anywhere. So, all right, just it's a little weird, but I'm going to go back and hop on the ride. So I went back to the chair, put the mask on. It didn't take but just 30 seconds. My body started shaking again, just like this. I was going back and forth. And I got through that meditation, and it was the wildest experience I've ever had at that time. I felt like I got abducted by aliens. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I just feel like they just picked me up and they brought me back, and we had like a lunch or something up there. I don't know. It was a bizarre experience. As this meditation was going on, this particular meditation was going on, all I could think about was just death for some reason. So I was frustrated because I know Dr. Joe talks about, or he had mentioned, I heard him earlier, we're going to program your mind in these meditations. And I was sitting there going, if all I'm thinking of is death, I don't want to program my mind to this. So I get up and I go talk to the woman with the green hat on. Again, I was definitely the worst customer of the day. They were probably tired of seeing me, but whatever. I was freaking out. I needed some questions answered. And I will say they did a great job in being patient with me. And I'm grateful for it. But so I went and talked to her and I said, listen, if he's talking about programming your mind, like all I've got is this just visions of just death. And she goes, no, well, that's with your body. That is your body processing previous traumas in your life. So there may have been something that happened in the past. And right then it hit me that, well, that's my brother died 6 months ago. And so I really connected with that. I went back to the chair, finished meditating, shaking, and I was freaked out by this whole thing. Not going to lie, freaked out by the whole thing. We get done, we take a break, and on the whole break, I'm just sitting there trying to figure out what in the hell just happened to me. It was the most bizarre thing that ever happened. I could talk about it for 14 days, but just that first meditation that happened there. And there was so much that happened within that. But after we took a break, I'm figuring that out in my mind, or trying to. I'm talking to other people. And they're telling me, wow, man, that's cool you did that. I'm like, this is not what I was expecting. I was kind of thinking we were all going to be roasting marshmallows and singing Kumbaya or something like that. I had no idea that this was a part of what meditation could be at all. And so I was not expecting this at all. It was the last thing I could have possibly expected. So we take the break, we come back, and we start into another meditation. I'm going, man, I don't know if here we go. So I put on a mask, and it didn't take but just about 30 seconds, and my body started shaking. And in this particular meditation, my body was juking and jiving left, right. My head was bouncing everywhere. I knew I was annoying the people next to me from moving so much, but I was up, down, left, right. I had gone through this meditation. I felt like I was getting beat up by Mike Tyson. I swear it was it's indescribable what was going on. I know there's people that have experienced this like me, but it just at the time, I just wouldn't know how to explain it to anybody. But my body was taken over by something. And I was getting pushed around, and my body was shaking. And my shirt's soaking wet. I barely sweat ever. And my shirt is practically soaking wet. I've got tears in my eyes. I'm not crying, but I got tears in my eyes. And I'm laughing at the same time. I'm like sad and happy. It was just, it was like every emotion in one came out in this meditation. It was the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't ever want to do this again, but I'm ready to hop on the ride again. Like it was very bizarre feeling to have all those things just come up in one moment and in one time. And so I'm sitting over here getting beat up, and we go through the meditation. I just am still blown away by what's happening. Dr. Joe says, let's lay down. And at this point, I'm absolutely exhausted. I mean, I was out of it. I didn't have any emotions left. I didn't have any sweat, any tears. I didn't have any energy left in my muscles because I was trying to hold myself up. Excuse me. And so we lay down, and I'm kind of going, oh, thank God. Because I'm not shaking anymore. And so I'm laying down on the ground, and he says, just drift away. And really, all I could do was drift away because I didn't have control over anything else. I couldn't move my arms, my legs. I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but I was zapped. Everything was had no energy, nothing left in me in the tank. And so I am just drifting away. I'm kind of just drifting off into wherever. And so I start feeling like, started kind of having memories. And I had this memory of my brother come up, and it kind of came up, and then it just kind of got a little closer, and then all of a sudden I was like, this is a memory. And all of a sudden, my brother's sitting next to me. And I had a conversation with my brother. And my brother that passed. And it was just as real as if someone was sitting next to you right now. It was just as real as that. My brother's talking to me, and I'm talking to him. He's talking to me just like he would, say it in his voice and in the way that he would use the words, And it was absolutely incredible. There's nothing really profound that happened in our conversation. It was like I got an extra 7 minutes with my brother. But I will say that, we're in this meditation, and while I'm visiting with him, and again, I didn't even know this was a thing, but as we're talking, I'm kind of telling him like, man, what do you think of this? Because he's a big Christian and all that. And I've always been the crazy one in the family. So I told him, I said, man, I'm crazy, man. Look at all these people laying down, man. I'm crazy. What do you think about all this? And he goes, well, you are crazy, but, and this does seem a little crazy, but, just think now that you know how to do this, maybe you could come back and visit sometime. And so I lost it. It's hard to tell that story and not just relive it. But I lost it right there. Not really out loud, but in my mind. I told him, I said, man, I love you, but I have to go for right now. And so I pulled away from wherever we were. And I said, man, I'll be back to see you. I don't know how, but I'm going to figure this thing out, and I'm going to come back and see you. And so as I break away from my brother, I'm screaming in my mind to Dr. Joe, please, you got to end this thing, man. I am done. I am done. I just went on the wildest possible ride I could possibly go on. I was done. As soon as I said that, I swear he says, sit up, and thank God. It was about time that happened. I mean, it was going on for a little too long. It just was, I just didn't have anything left. And I was done. And I sat up, and once everybody kind of got up, we went on a break, but I sat in that chair in the convention hall there. And I couldn't move. I was just blown away by what just happened. And I couldn't get up. I couldn't really talk. I had tears in my eyes, and I sat there for a while. There was a woman that came up and gave me a hug. I can't remember her name, but she knows who she is. And it's one of the greatest hugs I've ever gotten in my life. I've never needed a hug more in my life than I did then. And that was a powerful moment. And it's something I won't ever forget. I'm not going to lie, those first couple of meditations, it was bringing up so much bad stuff. I thought I was carrying around maybe 20 pounds of weight on my shoulders. I thought I was doing good in life. But after those couple of meditations, I realized I just knocked off 150,000 pounds off of my shoulders, and I could feel it just come off. So even though I just did not enjoy those meditations as much as I did, it's crazy to say that. They were so bizarre and just out there. But after those two meditations, every meditation after that was just a happy experience. It's like I got all the crap off, and now I could just have fun or something. And I met a lot of great people there throughout that week. And I met and had a lot of great meditations, continued shaking. And it just, every day you got to go. It's like trying to explain the Grand Canyon to somebody. You can't really explain it to somebody until you go. It's just not going to make sense. But I would highly recommend going to one of his retreats. But aside from that, I'm going through the week. I'm meditating every day. I'm meeting people, and everything's going good. I feel like I'm starting to get to the point we can roast marshmallows now. It wasn't so emotional. And at the end of the week of that retreat, I literally had this burning sensation in my chest right here in my heart. And it was internal, and it was a force. And it lasted for probably 6 to 7 days after that. It was like a big target right here. And it was just on fires, maybe the way I could explain it. It was burning here, and the sensations came out to here. But it felt amazing. It wasn't like I was having a heart attack. It was just absolutely incredible. And I've never experienced this before. And so it was, I felt unstoppable. So towards the end of the retreat, Dr. Joe had mentioned something along the lines of, when you leave here, you're going to find something or experience something that's going to prove to you that this is real. And I was already going, dude, I'm already sold. I'm in on the game, man. I get it. I'm in. But if there was something else to be experienced after the fact, I couldn't wait to see what it was going to be. So I kind of I remembered that. I remembered that at the moment. I held on to it a little bit. I was curious to find out what is that going to be. And so anyway, I leave from there and I go to Miami. Back home in South Carolina, there was an ice storm. So my power was out. So I went, hey, I'm going to go to the beach in Miami. Just got an upgrade. And so I went to the beach, starts raining. And I go to the local mall there, and there's thousands of people in this mall. This is one of those good malls. There's not a parking space available there. They got all the good stores in it and everything. So there's a lot of people running around in the store. And so I'm looking for some jeans, and I find this department store that's got these jeans that I like. And I go in, and there's like 5 people, employees. And so one of them comes up and helps me, and it's this guy, and he starts pulling jeans off the shelf, and I start trying them on, And see, I'm a guitar player and a musician. That's what I've done for many years. And so this guy mentions that he goes, well, I'm a musician, this is just my part-time gig or whatever, something. And so I didn't say anything. I didn't really want to engage about music. I didn't want to start talking and what do you do? What do I do? I just wanted some jeans. I wanted to get out of there. So we start trying on some more jeans, and then, then he mentions again, he goes, yeah, me and my band, we just got back from being on tour out in Asia. And I went, all right, man, I'm in. What's going on? What do you do? I'm a musician. I play guitar. He plays guitar as well, too. And so we start talking. We've got these very similar careers and just different styles of music, but very similar careers. That we're talking about. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm enjoying talking to this guy. So then we're also big gearheads. So we're interested in musical equipment. And so we start talking about that. And he mentions an amplifier, a guitar amplifier that you would play through. And he mentions that at his house, he uses a 1967 Fender Vibra-Champ. And I went, dude, that's what I've got. I've got a 1967 Fender Vibra-Champ. And he's like, oh, man, now that's a little weird. Not too weird. It's not unreasonable to have one of those amplifiers. They're very popular. But so I tell him, I say, well, hey, man, there's this speaker that I found over the pandemic. I found the speaker to put in there that really livens the amp up. It makes the amp just sound amazing. And I told him the name of the speaker, and he goes, well, that's what I've got in my amplifier. And I said, oh, man, I thought I was going to give him some knowledge, kind of like, some inside secret, but he's already got that in his amplifier. Then he mentions the guitar amplifier that he uses on stage is a Benson Chimera. And I said, man, I've got a Benson Chimera. Now, what makes this so crazy is you can't just go and get one of these amplifiers, even if you got the money. There's like a 2 or 3 year waiting list to get one of these things. This guy makes them in Portland, Oregon, like in his garage. This would be like a woman, in Rhode Island has this boutique clothing store. She makes dresses by hand, and in the back room, she makes one every 2 to 3 weeks. She sells them, and you buy it, and you go to a party in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you show up, and this other woman's got the same dress on. Like, the odds of that are just like, it was like, man, that's what I use. And so we talked about that for a while. Then he mentions, like, he says, so what kind of guitars you got? I said, well, I got pretty much everything I want. But there is one guitar that I would like to have if I could get another one. If I got another one, I would get this black Les Paul. They call it a Black Beauty. It's got gold trim, and it's got the gold pickups on there. And they made them, I think it was from 1976 to 1980. Very specific guitar. And then he holds up a picture on his phone. He goes, that's the guitar that I play. I said, oh, man, like the exact thing that I just mentioned to him. It's got the gold pickups and the gold trim, and it's black, and it's like a 1978. And like, man, all of a sudden we become best friends. And so that was pretty wild experience. But I start kind of talking. I say, yeah, I'm from South Carolina. I was at this retreat, and I mentioned him. I say, yeah, well, I lost my brother 6 months ago. And then he says, I lost my brother 6 months ago. And his brother died on the same day my brother died. It's, I don't really know what to make of it still to this day, but I don't think he does either. Again, that's a story that's hard to tell without reliving it. Don't really know what it means, but he looked me in the eyes with this just kind of fear or scared or just concerned. He looked me in the eyes and says, who the hell are you, man? I told him, I said, I'll be honest, man, I don't even know anymore. I'm not really sure. I'm trying to figure that out, I guess. And we sat there and cried in that department store. 2 grown men. We practically became best friends. I mean, in that moment we did. He called his mom. I called my mom. We took pictures together. There was even more stories to it. I'm just giving the short story, but the cool thing is he played music with his brother before he passed. And I got to play music with my brother before he passed. And that's a whole nother story. But I was definitely, I look back at what Dr. Joe said, you're going to find something that's going to prove to you that this is real. As if I needed anything else to prove it to me. But just the odds of all those thousands of people in that mall. I happened to run across this one guy that I didn't even really care to talk to. And our stories couldn't be more similar. And it ends up that his brother passed away on the same day that my brother died. His brother committed suicide. My brother died of cancer. But anyway, so that was another powerful moment that I can't ever forget. So after that, I go to New Orleans. I'm playing some music over there. That's where I'm heading to. And I go to the casino because I got a couple days off. And so, I go to the casino and I play poker. And so I was playing Texas Hold'em, which is a style of poker. And so I sit down at the table. I start playing for a while, and I'm just kind of still zenning out. Just riding off the high from being at the retreat there, and just still trying to figure everything out. And so I was playing poker. I get dealt an ace of diamonds and a king of diamonds. And so the next 3 cards that came out, I hit a royal flush. And everybody starts freaking out at the table. The dealer goes, man, I've been here for 15 years. I've never seen that. And in my mind, like, I'm just totally like not even, it's like, I'm sitting there going, if you guys think this is crazy, you should have seen what happened last week, man. This ain't nothing. This is nothing. And that's kind of where I was at. This royal flush I hit just really wasn't much of anything. The guy next to me, he pulls up his phone. He goes, "Look, man, the odds of hitting a royal flush in Texas Hold'em poker are 650,000 to 1." And the first thing that came to my mind was, well, those are the odds for the people that don't meditate. And I literally feel like I got the cheat code to life by learning this meditation. There's been so many other experiences since then. It's definitely changed my life. It's changed the trajectory of my life. And I'm grateful that I found this. I feel lucky that I did. I had so many reasons not to do it, but I showed up. Anyway, that's my experience. It's my story, and I hope everybody gets out there and you spend some time meditating and see what happens. Whether you have a profound experience or not, meditation works. And I just wanted to share that. I also wanted to thank Dr. Joe and their team for providing an experience for me to be able to discover that. So thank you. And get out there and start meditating.